And Steve Moore from the Committee to Unleash Prosperity and Freedomworks. Steve, great to see you. Who the hell is this analyst, Steve? I mean, I know this administration is always claiming that everybody who's ever won an economic Nobel Prize supports his BBB plan, et cetera, but I haven't found one analyst saying that this is the strongest economy in 50 years. Have you?
Well, it might be. I've been scratching my head trying to think of who that might have been, David, and I'll make a guess of who the president might be referring to, and he's on a different network from yours. Jimmy Cramer over at CNBC has been on this rant about how wonderful the economy is. But, I mean, look, you just look at the statistics. By the way, it is a good jobs market, no question about it. The jobs market is really strong
because of demand.
But you look at these other factors. Pardon?
Because of demand, because of the demand unleashing the prosperity.
Exactly.
The people want to buy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's the free money. It's the funny, what I call the funny money that the Washington is just pouring into the economy right now. And it's like you go on a drinking binge, David. And I know you never do that, but I do. You know, and you drink and drink and drink, and it feels so great. And then the next morning, bang, you can't get out of bed in the morning. I worry about 2022. Yeah. I do think that there's going to be a debt hangover effect. And the big variable right now is something, you know, we've talked about. I've talked to Larry Kudlow about this on this show many times. And that is the issue of, are we going to pour gasoline on this fire of inflation by passing some version of the big Build Back Better bill? I certainly hope we don't.
Well,
but
Steve,
look at the other factors.
Steve, hold on a second. Let's just start.
Prices.
Let's just start with inflation, because I want to pick on these one by one. Inflation, 60, you know, the president may not think it's causing a halt in any kind of economic progress, but Americans do. 67% of Americans say that it has caused hardships over the last 6 months. So most Americans, twice as many, by the way, think that Biden is making it worse rather than making it better. And twice as many people think that the Build Back Better monstrosity is going to make inflation worse instead of better, as the president says. So the public is not buying what the president says. He's not making the sale with the public.
That's for sure. And in fact, it's not just on inflation. Those polls show the same thing on the economy generally. There's a sense of real unease among the public about what we're doing. I mean, the American people kind of get it, that you can't just keep spending and spending and borrowing and taxing and thinking that story is going to have a happy ending. And you look at the idea that somehow the inflation is getting better, and it's not. It's getting worse. Look at the producer price index that just came out a couple of weeks ago, David. Those numbers are getting worse, not better.
Almost double digits. It was 9.6%.
Yep, that's right.
So the bottom line here is that inflation is bad, but meanwhile, inflation is growing, but the GDP is not. We had the third quarter GDP numbers come out, and it's slowed down. Second quarter is 6.7. That was the robust post-pandemic, if you can call it that, post-pandemic era. But then in the third quarter, it came down to 2.3%. That's less than half of what inflation is. So the American economy right now is underwater, Steve.
It is, and you know what's underwater too is wages. So the president boasted a few weeks ago about 4.3% wage growth. Yeah, that's a great number during normal times, a really good number. But not when you have 6.7% inflation. It means people's paychecks are shrinking because of the inflation effect. But let's not forget, David, you and I are old enough to remember what happened in the early 1980s after we had the massive Carter, you know, the Nixon-Ford-Carter inflation. And remember what happened when Paul Volcker had to slam the brakes on that money supply. It caused a gut-wrenching. Remember that recession was the worst ever. And I just don't want to see that repeated.
Well, you know, a lot of people, including my late editor of the Wall Street Journal, Bob Bartley, thought that recession, maybe it couldn't have been avoided, but it could have been ameliorated some if the tax cuts had kicked in earlier. The fact what really turned it around was the tax cuts came in. Then we started having lower inflation, very high growth of 1 year. I think it was 84 was over 7% growth. So we had that. We're facing exactly the opposite, Steve, because it's clear that the Democrats in 2022 want to have tax increases. So that could lead to the ultimate stagflation.
Yeah, because this is an important point you're making, David, and I think a lot of people miss this. It's not just the fact that we're increasing demand for goods and services with all this cheap money, but at the same time, they want to reduce the supply of goods. If you raise taxes on businesses and producers, they are going to produce less, right? If you tax something, you get less of it. And that means you're going to get potentially in 2022 this kind of witch's brew of higher demand, which increases prices, and lower supply of goods and services, and that is going to make inflation worse. But then you look at all these other factors in the economy: the debt going way up, the border being out of control, crime as a tax on the American people. All of these things seem to be going wrong to the American people.
Yeah.
That's why these polls are reflecting this unease that the country is not going in the right direction.
You know,
right now.
another thing that's going wrong. I don't want to sound too much like Liz Warren, but income inequality is growing. We had income inequality shrinking under President Trump after the tax cuts, but now it is growing, and you have these big corporations, they're doing fine. I mean, the Apples and all of the pandemic stocks, if you will, but the small mom and pops, particularly when you add in these vaccine mandates and everything, they're going out of business. I haven't seen the current records, but anecdotally, you know, a lot of small businesses are not doing well. The big businesses are fine. Their market cap is going up, but the non-incorporated companies are not doing well at all.
The thing that worries me the most about the month or two ahead is whether we have a political panic like we did, you know, in January and February, March of 2020 with respect to COVID. We should have learned the lesson by now, David, that lockdowns are completely ineffective. They actually exacerbated the problem of income inequality, as you just stated. And now we've got talk of closing down schools, closing down certain businesses. And isn't it interesting, David? It's always the small businesses that get shut down, but not the big guys.
Right, right. Let me talk again. I mentioned briefly the tax cuts of the Trump era, of which you were a part of, and of course Larry a big part of, working in the administration. But first of all, most Americans did get a tax cut. The BS that you hear from the media that it was only the rich, that's just not true. Even the New York Times admitted it. They had a big story that, face it, you probably got a tax cut. They did that in 2019. 65%, according to Tax Center Policy Studies, got a tax cut. But more than that, it was the little guy who did better with the tax cuts than the big guys. And Kevin Hassett spoke to that point when he was here talking to Larry about a week ago. Let me just play that soundbite and get your final reaction. Roll tape.
Yeah.
Our message was that income inequality would go down. It did. That wage growth would be more than $4,000 per family. It was actually about $6,000. We said that poverty would go down. About 4 million people left poverty. We said that even like food stamp use would go down. It was down about 7 million folks came off of food stamps because the tax cuts stimulated the economy.
So the tax cuts stimulated the economy, and as a result, income inequality that Warren and all the other Democrats are always complaining about shrunk. So it really helped the little guy more than the big guy.
So everything that Kevin Hassett said in that interview was correct, and I just want to add one thing to what he said. David, guess what happened to tax payments by the rich after the Trump tax cuts?
Went up.
They went up.
Yeah.
It happens every time. Same thing on when Reagan cut taxes. You know, Laffer has a great new study out showing over the last 75 to 100 years, every time we've cut tax rates, tax payments by the rich go up, and every time we raise the tax rates, the tax payments by the rich go down because they find tax shelters. That's why raising this tax rate under BBB to 55% would be a disaster for the country. I think it would be a total catastrophe. We'd have the highest tax rates in the world. How are we going to compete with Japan and China and Germany and France and all these countries if we have the highest tax rate in the world, David? It makes no sense.
Yeah, but that's supply side nonsense, according to the mainstream media. I mean, right. Supply side doesn't work. I mean, it just helps the rich people. I mean, it's just incredible.
David.
Go ahead.
David, did you see the data? I know you guys have reported on this at Fox, that where are all the people moving to? They're moving to the states with low income taxes, and Texas and Florida and Utah and Montana. Yeah. I mean, taxes do affect people's behavior. Yeah. There's no doubt about
Absolutely.
it.
And don't forget Tennessee. That's where our friend Art Laffer is hanging out now.
Yeah, Tennessee.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Have a wonderful New Year, Steve. Great to see you.